Welcome, everybody. Wait like another 30 seconds or so to make sure everyone has a chance to get in here before I start. But definitely thank you for taking the time to join me today. I'm excited to talk to everyone about the Digital Assessment Library for Schools. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Uh, my name is Theo Miron, and I'm a school psychologist by trade, and I'm an assessment consultant for Pearson. And I'm really excited to share some information about the Digital Assessment Library with you today. Um, for housekeeping matters, please be sure that you ask questions in the Q&A of today's presentation. My colleague Selena Oliver is in attendance with us today, and she's going to be helping me to answer questions that you may have. If there's enough time left at the end, we'll also have some Q&A right at the end as well. Now that I've kind of said hello to everyone, I'm actually going to hop off the camera just to make sure that we don't have any bandwidth issues, and then I'll get started talking about the Digital Assessment Library for Schools. Okay, so here's a brief look at what we'll be covering today. We're going to start with a quick overview of what the DALLS is. Then we'll talk about the two digital platforms, Q Global and Q Interactive, that make up the DALLS. Then we're going to review some of Pearson's traditional pricing and management options. And then we can discuss what the Digital Assessment Library for Schools pricing model looks like. And I'll review some training options and the available supports with DALLS. And I'm going to finish up with some new enhancements and products that will be coming soon. So first off, what is DALLS? Well, it's the Digital Assessment Library for Schools is an annual site license that provides an entire school district unlimited access to a library of more than 40 assessments. The DALLS, as we like to call it, was launched to offer school districts a wide range of assessments, so it greatly reduces the need for platform management. We spent time talking to customers and trying to understand some of the challenges that they face when placing orders with Pearson. And some of the things we heard included the difficulty of managing subscriptions, monitoring uses, dealing with varying expiration dates throughout the school year, ordering and renewing licenses on Q Global or Q Interactive, determining how many subtests are needed for Q Interactive. In addition, we heard how districts' own procurement departments can also complicate the ordering process as well. Hopefully, there's no one on from procurement departments. I don't want to give them a bad name. They're there for a reason. So after hearing some of these different challenges, we thought to ourselves, how can we simplify these processes to make everything ongoing year-round responsibility of ordering, inventory management, and annual budgeting easier for our customers? So our solution was the digital assessment library pricing model, which is going to provide unlimited access at a single flat rate to two of our digital systems, Q Interactive and Q Global, for now over 40 assessments that are used in schools. So for one fixed annual price, and this is going to be based on the district's total number of IEPs that are reported to the state or to OSERS, you'll have a license to use the entire library and all of our systems for administration, scoring, reporting, and for data storage. Now, Pearson chose to utilize the IEP number as the proxy for pricing versus total student population, as it's thought to be a little bit more representative of the departments that the DALLS would be serving. Plus, it's a number that's relatively consistent for districts from year in, year out, and it's pretty reliable. Like every school district in the country must report that number of IEPs that they have in place to the state and to the federal government. Now, it's important to note that users of the DALLS are not limited to just testing kids that already have IEPs. The district can use the library to test any and all students for which the district is responsible for. So any initial assessments, revals, evaluations for kids who don't end up qualifying, homeschooled students, those that might attend charter schools, gifted and talented type assessments. Basically, anything of is fair game when you're working with students within that district. Now, the DALLS can be used by any of your staff, and you can add new users throughout the school year, and the cost doesn't change. Professional staff who generally use the dolls are school psychologists, speech language therapists, school social workers, your OTs, your PTs, diagnosticians, behavior specialists, early childhood professionals, and even special education teachers who might be giving the different assessment batteries that are within the dolls library. You're welcome to also use the dolls with any interns or even contracted staff that are working for you as well. Digital assessment has shown to be very influential in employee retention and even attracting new hires. Many districts have found having access to this digital platform is a great way of recruiting and retaining professional staff that are entering their chosen fields. All right, so we talked a little bit about the dolls licensing model for the dolls. Let's take a look at the platforms that are included with the digital assessment library. So first off, we have Q Global, which is a web-based system. I'm guessing most people on the call are probably familiar with Q Global, but you may not be aware of all the different features and functionality of the platform. So for starters, Q Global is our web-based platform that's used to score assessments, generate reports for assessments, and administered if you administered in print format as well. You can also use it to administer assessments that are typically available as a rating scale or a questionnaire like your BASC-3, Vineland-3, Sensory Profile, and dozens of others. Staff can email a link through Q Global to have many of these different rating scales completed, which then equates to a great time savings. The form will come back ready and automatically scored, which will also alleviate the need to put forms in teachers' mailboxes or trying to track down parent or teacher forms in your time that you're trying to evaluate or set up IEP meetings. With that said, Dolls offers a unique feature that's not available in our standard instance of Q Global, and that's actually the ability to print off the rating scale forms. So for raters that may be less tech savvy or maybe they don't have reliable internet, you can actually print the forms out directly from your Dolls Q Global account, send them out to the parents, to the teachers, whomever you need completing it. And then once you get them back, you can input those responses through the platform. But you're able to print them out so you don't actually need to buy paper forms. You can print them out. In addition, Q Global has a resource library that's full of test manuals, stimulus books, and other digital assets for each of the different assessments that are in the library. Users can access these manuals at any time, anywhere. You don't have to worry about taking them home in your backpack or forgetting them in your office. If you have internet access, you have access to everything that you need. Stimulus books can also be displayed directly on a computer, so you can actually eliminate the need for a paper stimulus book. And in some cases, this might even be appropriate for like remote telepractice type administrations. All right, so the next platform is Q Interactive. Now, this one's maybe a little less familiar to people, but the QI platform has been around for over 10 years now, and it's used to administer performance-based assessments like the WISC-5, the WIAT-4, the KTA-3, and it utilizes two iPads in place of a print test kit. The two iPads will have an array of um, two iPads instead of having these kits that you have to carry around all the time. You basically have two iPads and whatever you have if you need a protocol for anything. So you have a lot more space for groceries or golf clubs, and definitely a lot of less back pain carrying all those heavy subtests or the different tests around. Um, Many districts that use Q Interactive have provided feedback indicating that their assessments are now more targeted because Q Interactive provides more immediate feedback once a subtest is complete. The system is going to allow you to edit your assessment battery at the point of use. Then this helps you better gauge whether the student allows you to modify the evaluation as needed, leading to more adaptive and thorough assessment practices. Finally, I want to emphasize that the internet connection is not required for the actual test administration. So once you set up your students in the Q Interactive Central, which is online, then you send the information out to the iPads. You no longer have to be in a Wi-Fi environment when you're actually doing the testing. You can take those two iPads to go to any location in your district, if you're testing in someone's home, and you can conduct your assessments. The iPads actually communicate with each other through Bluetooth, not through Wi-Fi. So, if you're curious about the effectiveness of Q Interactive, let's take a look at some of the usage data. So, a Q Interactive subtest is being completed every 2 seconds. There's currently over 150,000 professionals worldwide that are using Q Interactive. Over 1.5 million subtests are administered globally each month, and over 14 million students are supported by districts using Q Interactive. You look at it, and it's pretty impressive numbers, and certainly paints a picture to the level of trust that clinicians are placing in this Q Interactive system. All right. Now, there's many different benefits to utilizing technology in your district's assessment practices. A lot of our users have indicated that students seem to be more engaged during the digital assessments. Um, in addition, the use of digital administration can help out individuals and obtain a more accurate result and complete evaluations that are going to be more targeted for a specific individual. More accurate evaluations lead to more appropriate interventions and ultimately improved outcomes. For examiners, there's a measurable time savings with digital assessment. When you're comparing it to a paper pencil administration of tests, on average, the Q Interactive system and Q Global, if you're using that for administration, can help practitioners save about 35% of their time, primarily just from the automated scoring. There's also 24/7 access to materials via the digital manuals, which are accessible in Q Interactive and the Q Global Resource Library. You can access these anytime from anywhere on any web enabled device. Also, with Q Interactive, you have the access to an assortment of different assessment batteries right at your fingertips. So you have so much test flexibility versus having to pick through and haul around all the different assessment batteries that you might want to do for a specific kid. For administrators, the benefits are plenty, including greater staff productivity, reduced waste, and definitely better inventory management. You'll have access to student assessment data without having to search through boxes and searching through all the different file cabinets in a storage room. It's just a click and a print whenever you need it. The dolls is also going to afford your staff equitable access to testing materials, and it's overall a more versatile investment for your district. And finally, digital assessment has shown to be influential in employee retention and attracting new hires, like I had mentioned before. A lot of districts find that having these digital solutions is really great with recruiting, letting people know that, hey, we're using these kind of things and we value your time. Some additional benefits worth mentioning is with digital administration. Coming off the pandemic, the different health and safety benefits that obviously come with it. You're keeping single iPads as a device. It's very easy to clean as opposed to hundreds of different stimulus book pages, and it's definitely less time consuming with less wear and tear on the assessment materials. The use of digital also supports social distancing if you need distance between the student and the practitioner. The connections between the iPads are recommended like within 6 feet social space. So you have put a shield up, you can test from different tables if you need to. Um, but knowing that it's connected through Bluetooth, you don't have to be right next to the student. And then finally, for any users that do remote administration via telepractice, Q Global allows for so many different self-administered forms to be emailed to teachers and caregivers. And you can also use the STEM books online through Q Global in the resource library, and you can present these online to conduct some interactive assessments online through teleassessment. For more information, you can visit the telepractice page that we have at pearsonassessments.com. All right, now we got some background of what the digital library consists of. Let's take a look at some of the more traditional pricing and management approaches. So Pearson tests are currently purchased a la carte, so to speak, and delivered via Q Interactive, Q Global, or with a paper pencil assessment with the test kits in print form. As you can see, there's several options and steps, creating a variety of different challenges. Now, some of these challenges include accounting for the total number of users who will have access to Q Interactive and Q Global. For Q Interactive, you're going to have to solve for what assessments are being utilized. You're going to have to figure out how many subtests their staff is going to need, how often you're going to need to order. You need to figure out how many response booklets that you're going to need. For Q Global, the challenge could even be greater, such as how many different reports do you need for each different assessment that you're using? Is it more cost effective to purchase scoring subscriptions or to pool scoring usages to share? Um, does this answer differ depending on what assessment is being used? For rating skills, you're administering digitally, or are you doing it paper pencil? Do you need to have access to both options? Finally, with print kits, there's the initial cost of the kit itself, and then you have to figure out, does every practitioner need a kit? Are they going to be shared between the different users? How many forms are needed for a given year? Do you have budget available if you run out of forms? Will the assessments be hand scored, or you need to buy Q Global scoring? Then what about new staff? How are they going to be outfit if you have new staff coming in throughout the year? So you can kind of see what I'm getting at. There's a lot of different variables when ordering via traditional methods. So in addition to budgeting and purchasing, there's some administrative management required as well. With the digital platforms, licenses have to be allocated to the users, and different licenses can expire at different times throughout the year. So the administrators are going to have to keep tabs on these dates to make sure that the staff retains access to these measures throughout the year. With Q Global and Q Interactive, usage also has to be monitored and accounted for. With print test kits, there's also going to be some administrative management because you're going to need to keep track of the number of kits that you have available for staff. Test revision dates. Are you making sure that there's enough record forms and response booklets for everyone? As many of you know, these variables can be very, very difficult to predict throughout each year. Now, with the dolls, our goal is to simplify this whole process and create a large library of tests that are available for unlimited use to Digital Assessment Library subscribers. So we've discussed traditional purchasing models. Let's take a look at how the Digital Assessment Library for Schools site license model works. So I've said unlimited many times. So what does unlimited mean? Well, we have over 40 different assessments, and we continuously expand on these different digital offerings as well. We'll go through some of the different tests that are available shortly. Assessment administrators have unlimited access to these assessments. They gain access to the latest test revisions as soon as they are released. So this means when a new test is revised and released, your clinicians will have immediate access to the new test without incurring any additional costs. Pearson also includes a variety of different support and training resources, both for Q Global and for Q Interactive, and that's all included as part of your DALL's subscription. Now, as mentioned prior, DALL's customers have unlimited access to over 40 tests in Q Interactive and Q Global. Now, here's a list of tests that we include for ability and achievement. So current Dolls customers, looking through this, you see the little new tab. Current Dolls customers were able to get access to the Waste 5 immediately as soon as it launched this past fall. Now, these columns in the blue are showing you what's available on Q Interactive. Now, these orange columns show the features that are available within Q Global. And there is some overlap. For example, like the WISC 5 is available for digital administration and scoring on Q Interactive. But if you're doing it with a traditional way, or you're doing it, say, telepractice through Q Global, you'll have access and copies to those digital stimulus books or the digital manual. Or if you're giving it with paper pencil, you're also able to get the scoring at no additional cost. Now we see what we have for behavior, mental health, and executive functioning library. I want to draw your attention to a few things. This column shows all the assessments that could be administered digitally and paperlessly via Q Global's on-screen and remote on-screen administration. This next column is going to showcase the rating scales where printable forms are available. So you no longer have to have a stash of print forms for people who might prefer or need a paper pencil copy. You're just able to print them straight from Q Global, and then you input the scores and responses into Q Global after you get it back. These forms are found in the Q Global Resource Library. As you kind of see right here, it's just a tab that's going to be up on your Q Global account, and then you can go through all the different places and find the different printable psych forms, developmental forms, ability forms, and you go through and all those are printable. All right, let's take a look at the developmental library and the speech, language, and motor sensory assessments. So the developmental library includes a variety of different early childhood assessments, including the ESI-3, the Bailey-4, the Dial-4, and the Speed Dial. And the new Bracken-4 assessments were just released last year are also available. For your speech folks, the SLP and OT assessments include all of the speech language assessments available in Q Interactive, as well as Q Global Access to Self 5 Metalinguistics. You'll also notice a few commonly utilized OT and PT assessments like the PDCAT and the newly released BOT 3 and the Sensory Profile 2. All these available on Q Global as well. So the dolls also include several different screeners like the BASC 3 BESS, the SSIS SEL version, Shaywitz Dyslexia Screen, and Ravens 2. Now, these different screeners are the only thing that aren't unlimited. If you are a doll subscriber, you'll have as many as IEPs that you reported. So if you have 5,000 IEPs that you reported, you'll have access to 5,000 of these. The reason for this is the platform is not necessarily meant to be for universal screening, but to assist in the evaluation platform. So the platform does allow for the digital administration and scoring reporting features for each of these different useful tools. Unlimited use. So unlimited use allows your district to answer any and all of your different referral questions, whatever tests you need, as many times as you need, using as many examiners as you need to do it, all for the same simple price. Customer feedback for the dolls has been extremely positive. Many customers indicate that they appreciate the simplicity of the ordering system. So by moving to the dolls, your district will benefit from unlimited use of over 40 assessments throughout your district, access to the latest and greatest assessments that come out, equitable access to all the different assessments across the entire district, a streamlined and predictable cost year over year, simplifying order process, which means less stress for the administrators having to take care of all that. There'll be less time managing your inventory. There's Pearson support and implementation guidance for Q Global, Q Interactive, and dolls as a whole. Some districts have even found success using dolls as a recruitment tool, like I had mentioned before. It sounds like an infomercial, but wait, there's also more. I want to also tell you about the Dolls Plus package. So Pearson publishes several different tests commonly used in districts, which we don't have a digital administration option for at the time. Customers still want to purchase this with the simplicity of that Dolls model. So what we did is we introduced Dolls Plus. Customers subscribe to the Dolls Complete solution, and then they're able to add in the Dolls Plus package. So the Dolls Plus option includes unlimited record forms and response booklets for all the tests included in the Dolls Plus product list. Additionally, we know districts often want paper kit options, so we've also included a 65% discount on the purchase of paper pencil kits for all the measures listed. And for those measures, it also includes free shipping with all the different assessments that you'd be purchasing. So here's kind of a closer look at what's included in the Dolls Plus in terms of ability, achievement, and developmental portfolio assessments. The blue column indicates that the print and consumable materials that are included with the Dolls Plus, and then the orange columns indicate that Q Global resources that are included for these different assessments. All right, here's the remaining dolls plus assessments that are included with subscription. You'll notice a variety of popular tools commonly used by our speech language pathologists, our OTs, our PTs. Look at like the PLS5, the Beery VMI is on there. We also have some additional assessments included in the executive function and memory portfolio, like the NEPSI and the DCAFs have different select subtests available within QInteractive, but the DALS Plus is a great solution if you're interested in administering the full battery via paper pencil. Okay, so how much does this solution cost? So the best part about dolls is it's one simple annual price. The district cost is based on the most recent number of IEPs reported to your state or to OSERS. If you look at the slide, districts with over 400 IEPs, excuse me, with 400 IEPs or less are going to pay a flat fee based on the tiers that are listed below. Now, if you work at a district that's larger than 400 IEPs, you're going to pay your price based on the reported number of IEPs multiplied by the cost per IEP. And you can kind of see how that breaks down here on this slide. Finally, for even greater flexibility with your digital library subscription, Pearson is now very proud to offer both the Connors 4 and the Autism Spectrum Rating Scales, or the ASRS, as an additional add-on package. Pearson is a distributor of the Connors and the ASRS, and we recently partnered with MHS to offer these assessments through our Q Global platform. Dolls customers now have the option with the purchase of the Dolls Complete to be able to add the new MHS Education 2025 portfolio to their subscription for a small fee, as you see here. So you get all the same benefits as the Dolls model, but you're also getting additional access to the Connors 4 and to the ASRS. You're also going to be able to have unlimited access to these, as many administrations as you want. And you're also able to add that at any time during your subscription year. Now, we recognize that making the transition to something like the digital assessment library does require some training in order for users to familiarize themselves and get comfortable both with Q Global, but especially with Q Interactive. We want users to feel comfortable and confident using our systems. We offer several different training options, including complimentary video tutorials, pre-recorded web-based training, or professional development that are delivered by our training team. Trainings can be provided in a variety of different ways, like self-guided videos, user guides, live webinars, or even in-person trainings. We have hundreds of hours of content and training that's been developed by our dedicated training team. Training is available both for Q Global and for Q Interactive platforms. And we also offer training on the individual assessments that are in the digital assessment library. We also have training on different unique topics like the process of strengths and weaknesses and cross-battery assessment, SLD identification, intervention recommendations, and more along that line. All right, we've also just launched our latest offering, which is called per seat training. So if you don't have a large enough group for, say, a private session, these per user sessions are the perfect solution to get the training that you need for a few people at a time. So whether you're new to Q Interactive or you're eager to explore a new assessment that just came with your dollar subscription, we've got a training session that's tailored just for you. You can scan this QR code here that's presented, and it'll take us to your current training calendar where you can discover all the different upcoming opportunities to enhance your skills and your knowledge. Pearson's also always looking for ways to strengthen and to add more value to the Dolls and the Dolls Plus subscriptions. So I'm going to quick show you some recent enhancements and what is new for this coming year. Now, one thing Pearson is great about is customer feedback. We're consistently striving to make enhancements and modifications to our current and future offerings based on the feedback that we're receiving from our end users. User feedback and the desire for greater flexibility within Q Interactive and the Assess app has led us to make several different new enhancements that you see here. First off is an eraser function within Q Interactive, and this is something that our end user requested, and it's designed to improve examiner accuracy and efficiency by allowing clinicians to remove unintended marks or annotations during a testing session or while they're scoring. Additionally, late last year, we deployed an update for the Q Interactive Assess app. So it now includes a keyboard feature, which is going to allow you to keep your notes and client responses via typing. You can do this with an external keyboard that you attach to the iPad, or you can use the Apple internal keyboard as well. The Apple internal keyboard is also going to give you the option to use the dictation feature that's going to allow you for voice to text capturing. This enhancement ensures that our digital tools are accessible for all users and comply with the latest web content accessibility guidelines. Additionally, typed or dictated responses can offer a more efficient and accurate input method, especially if you're anything like me and you can't read my writing. It's great to have those different options. Additionally, we launched the ability to create clients straight from the Assess app. Most commonly, the practice is that clients would subsequently have their assessment sessions be created and in the dashboard and then sent to the iPad from the website. However, we got a lot of different feedback about users wanting to be able to create clients on the fly. So with this new feature, users are able to create clients right within the iPad application. This then adds a new level of flexibility and efficiency to your assessment workflow. And we really hope that you'll explore this new feature if you're already users. Pearson is always looking for ways to improve and to add value. So here are some of the additions that we have added late in 2024 and early 2025. For Dolls Complete subscribers, we've added the new Bot 3 and the Waste 5 to the subscription this school year. Anticipated to come in the first half of 2025 is going to be the DCAFS Advanced, which is the newest version of the Dallas Kaplan Executive Function System. It'll consist of 6 standalone digitally administered subtests that are used to measure key components of executive functioning in individuals aged 8 to 90. Pearson's also going to be releasing the new version of the Wechsler Memory Scale, or the WIMS, to Q Interactive later this year. For Dolls Plus, the Movement Assessment Battery for Children, or the MABC3, is a new assessment that we added to the library this last year. This assessment provides an objective measurement of gross and fine motor coordination difficulties in children and young adults aged 3 to 25 years old. Scoring for this assessment, as well as a checklist for additional information about the child's motor performance, are both available as part of the Dolls Complete and are within Q Global. The full assessment requires record forms and manipulatives, but the forms are all included in a Dolls Plus subscription, and members are also eligible for that 65% off discount. If you're interested in that, go ahead and reach out to your assessment consultant to request a quote. And finally, as I mentioned earlier, that we did just add the ASRS to our MHS portfolio about a week and a half ago. So that's an additional test that's included in the library. We continue to expand on our Dolls and Dolls Plus offerings as additional assessments are updated and developed. So as always, stay tuned for new developments of things that are going to be added to the digital assessment library. I hope you've enjoyed the presentation today and gathered some valuable information to take back to your district. For more information, please visit the website linked here to download our comprehensive dolls guide. It's going to take you through everything you need to know about dolls and everything that I covered today. Additionally, I'd encourage you to scan the QR code where you can contact your assessment consultant for your particular state and learn more about what dolls would look like for your particular district. You can also visit pearsonassessments.com/dolls and click Get Started, and a dedicated Pearson consultant will reach out to provide any additional information that you might need. All right. We are open for business on questions. Selena, if there's anything that you've seen question-wise.
We have quite a few interesting questions that are kind of exciting. So the first question there, I think I have 5 for you. What happens to my existing inventory?
That is a great question. So what we do is if you have existing inventory, say you have both Q Interactive and Q Global, you are not out that investment. What we do is we are going to credit your account and basically deduct that from what the price would be. So you're getting credit for everything that you had. So if you just bought, say, 3,000 Bass 3 usages and you're like, oh no, we lost those if you go to dolls, you haven't. You're going to get credit for everything that you have in your Q Global account. Same thing with Q Interactive. If you've got a whole bunch of subtests and stuff that you've bought and you're like, oh gosh, like we don't want to lose these, you don't have to worry about it. All that is going to be credited to your account.
Great, great. This question is about reporting options. So are all the different report options included?
Yeah. So the different report options are included. Number one, if you're doing, say, paper administration on stuff, you still have access to like your Q Global scoring subscriptions where you can enter in that data, and it's going to give you all the different options for your reports, including interpretive reports. If you're doing stuff on Q Interactive, for example, you can go through that. The report is automatically generated through Q Interactive. You don't even really need to do anything. So yes, you'll have access to all the different reports that are available on Q Global and Q Interactive. You'll just be paying one flat fee for the whole year.
Right, great. Um, Now, are there any interventions that are available?
Interventions, not as much. There's progress monitoring. We do have stuff with the BASC 3 where the recommendations and interventions pack is included. It's mostly for assessment-based things, but if there's any tests that do offer those recommendations through the reports, all of that is certainly included. Um, and like I said before, like the BASC 3 will have the interventions and recommendations kit that is also included through it. But it's also good for, as I said, a progress monitoring tool for a lot of the different assessments that you might be looking for. Like if you're looking at BASC 3 kind of stuff, or if you're looking at SSIS, SEL edition, you're able to use a lot of these different things as progress monitoring as well. And because it's unlimited, you don't have to worry about using it too much.
Right, okay. Let's see here. This was a question about printing off the response booklets. Can you elaborate more on that process? That
Yeah. So with a doll subscription, you're going to get your response booklets sent to you from Pearson. You don't have to print them off. Essentially, what you'll do is you'll have an order form that you complete and you send that in either to customer service or into one of your assessment consultants. They'll take that, and that's basically your order. You send it in, then we send it out. There's no shipping price that's included in it. There's no cost at all. You basically just tell us what you need for response forms, and we send those response forms your way. So you don't have to print out response forms. And in fact, response forms aren't printable. It's only like the different rating scales that are printable. The response forms you'll just request through customer service or through one of us, and then you'll send them in our different packs of 25 and you get everything you need.
okay. And one other question, just a clarification that the digital assessment library for schools is only for schools and not for like a private practitioner.
Right, that's right, Selena. So right now, the dolls is just geared for schools, digital assessment library for schools. So you would have to be a school district that would be using it. We are exploring possible options for private practice, hospitals, things of that nature, but that is not available right now. It does have to be school based.
And I think those are all of the questions, Theo, that we have at the moment.
All
Great
right.
job.
Well, thanks everyone for attending. If you do have any questions, I'm going to actually go back a couple slides here.
Theo,
By all
there's
means, you.
actually a couple more open questions.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, Selena, do you see those?
I do.
Okay.
So Does an entire district get only 2 iPads to utilize the Q Interactive, or is that a feature that is downloaded on our iPads? So can you
So
elaborate on iPads and how they come by
yes.
them?
Yep, most definitely. So each practitioner and each client will have an iPad. So if I'm doing testing with a student, I will have one iPad that I'm using as kind of my record form and moving the assessment along. And then the student would have the other iPad where they're accessing the digital stims and being able to touch the screen with their responses and things of that nature. So for each administration, it's always going to include 2 iPads, one for the administrator, one for the client. Some districts do they'll buy an iPad for every different practitioner they have. Some do it by school where you may have they buy X number iPads for each school. It's like these are what you use, and you might maybe you share with a speech therapist, or if you're going from one school to a different school. But it is each iPad would be dedicated for that assessment. So it's not just 2 iPads for the entire district. Does that make sense, Selena?
Yes, that makes perfect sense.
Okay.
I think that's it as far as questions go, Theo.
Okay. I put this back on. If you are interested in learning more about the dolls, go ahead and check out our website, and I'm pointing at right now. It's just pearsonassessments.com/dolls. And if you've got your smartphone and you do want to reach out to your clinical assessment consultant, just go ahead and take a picture of that QR code, and it's going to bring you to our website, and it's going to show you who your particular assessment consultant is for your state and their contact information. So, with that said, thank you everyone for attending today. I really appreciate it, and reach out to those assessment consultants.